Hey again, friends, Corinne Sutherland here, just to share a little bit of a process video with you for my page in Psalm 150. I've pulled off a piece of the acetate off of one of my stamp sets, and I'm going to show you how I got the background here on my page using the ink pad smushing technique. This ink pad has just been taken and smushed right on top of my acetate, and then I'm adding with a regular paintbrush some water so that I can just spread it out a little bit more. Then I'm going to flip my acetate over onto my page and just push down on it and get all of that wet ink off onto my page. I've just added a little piece of scrap paper there to catch any ink so it doesn't go on my other page. And I'm just moving it around on the page to spread that ink out. Now I'm going to dry it so that I can continue working. I like to dry the front and the back just so that my page doesn't bend as much. And I'm just sopping up any extra moisture off of the page there. Now I'm going to take some Distress Oxide inks and I'm just going to sponge them with a jumbo sponge dauber directly onto my page. I like to do this sometimes if I want to just fill in a little bit of space but have it be a little bit more muted, sort of a softer look in the background. And I've done that with two different Distress Oxide colors. Now I'm going to take a Distress ink and do the same thing. This is a Dusty Concord, and this is just going to make my page a little bit darker all around the outside. I'm trying to go for a little bit of a night sky, even though it's a very messy looking sky, for this particular page with this technique of smooshing. Now I'm going to take my Thrill of Hope stamp set and I want to put a border of trees across the back. And I don't have a block that's large enough to hold this very, very long border stamp, so I am using my mini Misty to do the job instead. I'm going to ink this up with my Versfine ink pad. I really love Versfine ink because it gives a lot of coverage when you have larger stamps like this, solid stamps especially. And I'm going to place a piece of cardboard underneath my page just to try to give me a nice hard surface to stamp on. When you're stamping in a Bible, a lot of times it's not an even flat surface, and so it's helpful to have something hard underneath your page to stamp. Now you can see here when I lifted this up, it didn't stamp completely perfect, but my page is very textured because of all the water. So it's kind of crinkly, and I didn't get a completely solid image, but there are ways to fix that if you prefer. Now I'm just going to take one of the tree images and ink that in my Versfine and stamp that off into the corner there. And again, like I said, my page is very crinkly and it actually has some wrinkles in it because of how wet the page was at different times. So I peeled the stamp off of the block and I'm literally just going to take that and put it right down with my hand and press on it to get the excess ink that did not transfer onto the page. Now I'm going to take my little moon stamp, and my plan was to stamp it in a color that you could see the moon there on the page, but it really didn't turn out that way. So I dried it and decided to just trace over the image with my Posca paint pen, and this is just gonna end up being basically all white, sort of coloring in the moon so that you can see it better on the page, which actually makes more sense because the moon would be white anyway. Now I'm going to add a couple little deer down at the bottom of the page, again with my Versfine ink. And I do have another hard surface under my page to help with my stamping. Sometimes I use a 6x6 paper pad, which is what I did there. Now I'm going to take my mini Misty and a gray ink, Distress ink, and I'm going to ink up this tree border again and flip it around so that I can get sort of a reflection look, as if it's a reflection in the water. Now this technique does not work with all of your stamps. It will not work with images that are not uniform. There is another way to do a reflection that you can try, but that's a whole different video for another day. Now I'm going to take my Posca pen and just underline some of the verses that I would like to feature or spotlight for this page. And this is Psalm 150. Now, my video is going to cut off short, unfortunately, so you're not going to get to see the rest of this page put together, but you will see the finished page at the very end. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel to see future videos, please do so below. You can also give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment or question. I do love to hear from you. Until next time, happy stamping!